Hi and welcome to the final exam preparation video for 1101 IBA Management Concepts, Trimester 3, 2019. In this video, we will take you through what to expect the exam to look like, how to approach the exam and how to actually do the exam, and then what to expect in terms of study-wise and preparation for each component of that exam. So let's begin. Your exam itself is 2 hours in length. You will get 10 minutes of reading time at the start of the exam, and then your 2 hours will commence. So that 10 minutes allows you to read through the exam and really digest how you're going to approach the exam before you start that actual timer. The exam itself is worth 35%, which you know of, and it consists of 2 parts. So the first part is multiple choice questions. This is worth 15%. So there's 30 questions worth half a mark each. These questions are very similar to the ones you've had in your tutes throughout the semester. And also, that's the level of difficulty you should be expecting. So they're not overly difficult, they're not easy, but they're in that mid-range period. In part 2, there is 4 to 6 short answer questions. So there's 2 exams this semester. There's the main exam with the majority of people to be taking. However, if you apply for a deferred or an alternate exam, then there's a deferred or alternate exam. So in the main exam, there are 4 questions in that short answer time, and they're worth anywhere between 2 and 8 questions, 2 and 8 marks per question, with a total section worth 20 marks. In the alternate or the deferred exam, you will get 6 questions, and that will be broken down. So it'll still be worth 20 marks, but your question marks are different depending on which exam you have. So please approach the exam and use the reading time to really think about how you're going to use the time that you've got to answer the questions you've got. In overall, everything from weeks 2 to 11 are accessible, but we'll go through exactly what's accessible and what part soon. So the exam format, what you'll find is that when you walk into the exam, you'll be given a multiple choice mark sense card. You'll be given the exam, and you'll be given an identification slip where that basically records your attendance of the exam. So in the multiple choice questions, they will be in the exam itself. However, you'll mark the answers on the mark sense card that is provided. This mark sense card will be sent to a machine who will basically answer and mark your mark sense card, and it's automated, which means that we don't read your mark sense card. And I'm going to be really upfront about that, which means it's also your responsibility to bring in at least one 2B pencil. And that's really important when you have a computer that is generating your answers, whether you got it right or not, and we don't check that. What you need to do is make sure that those circles that you fill in that mark sense card are completely coloured in. Otherwise, your answer may not be recorded. We do mark manually your short answer questions, and that is done by all of our teaching team, and none of our teaching team except for me know exactly what's in the exam, so don't ask them any questions is the short thing, because you may get a wrong answer. You probably will get a wrong answer because none of them have seen this exam. But in the short answer questions itself, you'll find them in the exam book. So it'll say part A, here's your multiple choice questions, part B, here's your short answer questions. But what you'll also find is that the space provided to answer your short answer questions now are in the exam booklet itself. Usually we have a second booklet, but this semester we've decided to keep it in the exam. So use that as a guide. And the reason I chose to make you write the answers in the question is because I want to give you that indication as to how much writing I actually want per question. So if it's a 2-mark question, the space provided is only like this. I really only want you to go this, here's the answer. Use your dot points and sentences, but rely on dot points where you can, particularly if it says list these things, or if it's just what is this and this, you will need to just use really short, concise sentences. There is extra space at the back of the exam, so don't stress if you tend to write a lot. We do read everything that's in that exam. Just be wary that once that space at the end is used, there is no other. So if you have to use the last couple of pages, I think I've given you 2 extra pages to just write, feel free to do so, but also be guided by the space. So if I've only given you, it's only worth 2 marks and it's only 6 lines, I only want you to answer in those 6 lines. Obviously you won't be marked down if you answer extra, but just be wary that you may not be wanting to spend your time on that question if you're having to go over the time, or go over the space provided, okay? So really short, concise sentences, dot points if you need to, where possible, and the points do range from 2 to 8, so spend your time wisely. Now, the biggest question, what you want me to answer is, what do I study? Weeks 2 to 11 is a very broad brushed approach. And this semester, what we've decided to do is give you some more information than just everything, study everything. For the multiple choice questions, they do range from weeks 2 to 11, and there's basically a relatively even number of questions per week. So if you're hedging your bets, you might want to study a certain weeks. My advice would be to study the entire course. However, how you choose to approach that is completely up to you. There is 30 questions, as I mentioned in the multiple choice questions. They're each worth half a mark, and they do come from the entire course. The short answer questions, on the other hand, I will give you more of a hint for because it's obviously worth more. So there'll be a question about the overall management functions. No guessing on what that question is going to be because it is my favourite question, and all your lecturers have already probably indicated what that question may be, and if they haven't, then you can pretty much guess it. And the other questions will be on leading, environment, diversity, motivation, ethics and CSR, and leading and managing change management, which is in week 6, 7, 9, 10, and 11. So if you studied those weeks in more detail, then you'll be able to be guided more for your short answer questions. Okay, so don't worry about studying in depth any other particular week for this exam. And the thing I will say is that this approach, or this shortening of what is in the short answer question, that also applies for your alternate exams. So what I've done is bunch them all together. Not everything is on both exams, and you might find that you'll get into the exam and get really annoyed that you studied, you know, motivation, for example, or overall management, leading or environment, diversity, or ethics and CSR, or leading and managing change, or whatever one it is. And it's not on the short answer questions. This advice has to cover both the main and the alternate exam. So what I'm saying is that while I give you a list, they may not all appear in those short answer questions, but it's really important for you to study all of them just in case they do appear. And of course, they do appear in your multiple choice questions anyway, so you should be studying it. So that's all I will say with that. I will reinforce that going into the exam, what you will need to bring is a 2B pencil, at least one, preferably more than one because pencils break. Make sure you're bringing your eraser, your sharpener, and a pen, or multiple pens really. Remember that when you approach the exam, you approach it as, okay, I can't share my resources, so at no point can I put my eraser in the middle of the seats between people and expect other people to use that. That's called cheating. And if you do get caught sharing resources, we will report you for cheating, and that will go up on academic integrity. You don't want to fail the course now. You have worked so hard this semester, and I'm so proud of everyone's effort. Please don't let us down now by doing something really silly in the final exam, okay? So to bring in the exam, just to reinforce, 2B pencil, you will need a pen. If you want to write the short answer questions in pencil, you're welcome to as well. There is no rules as to what you need to use for the short answer questions. Most people prefer pen. I don't have a preference, which means that do what you need to do, okay? So if you're comfortable using the same pencil, go for it. If you only want to bring pencils, fantastic. Make sure they are 2B. HB pencils will not work for the multiple choice questions, and the policy in GBS is that we do send it to that machine to mark, so we won't be manually checking what you got. We will get an Excel spreadsheet that will tell us what you got, and that's it. All right, so all the best for the exam. Good luck, and thank you for all the effort that you have put in this semester. It is greatly appreciated, and I wish you best in the exam and also going forward into your career.